How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Ashton or Clutch Kwando, and I'm bringing you guys another video. In this video, I'm playing some Rainbow Six Siege, and if any of you guys follow Rainbow Six, you'll see that this is obviously old gameplay. Obviously now, Jaeger does not have an ACOG, which kind of sucks, but thinking back to it, it's kind of overpowered, right? Like, one of the strongest guns in the game has an ACOG. It's kind of ridiculous, but so this is actually a pretty good game. I believe I go 11-0 in this gameplay. I actually might just post the full game just because it was it was great because it was a 4v5. Some of our teammates quit. One of our teammates quit at the beginning of the round, and we ended up winning anyway. So that was pretty cool. It's pretty hype. But this is a while ago. This is like last summer, but didn't want to go and like try to get clips together and whatnot just because it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, if you read the title of the video, you know what this is going to be about. It's going to be why it's okay to fail and why you shouldn't be afraid to fail. And so I'd first like to talk a little bit about why I wanted to make this video in the first place. And so I was with some of my friends not too long ago, just kind of hanging out, and I asked one of my friends, I'm not going to mention any names here, but asked one of my friends, so what are your plans for after college, right? And this person told me they didn't really have any plans, right? This person's studying computer science with me, so we're in a lot of the same classes. We're going to be graduating at the same time. But so I asked this person, what are your plans? They didn't have any plans, and I said, so are you interviewing with places? And this person said to me, I'm scared, right? And I asked why, and I don't really remember exactly what the specific answer I received was, but I believe it was somewhere along the lines of just being afraid of interviewing. And I think that inherently ties into the topic of today's video, which is being afraid to fail. And as most of you know, if you know anything about computer science or engineering interviews, you know that they're very difficult and the questions are very hard, and it's they're easy to fail unless you're a genius, right? And so that kind of got me thinking, I told this person, I said, there's no reason for you to be afraid, right? What's the worst that happens? They reject you, all right, that's fine. There are hundreds of other jobs out there and hundreds of other employers that would be happy to hire you, right? You just gotta, it's almost like a skill, right? Interviewing is a skill. You have to get good at it over time. You gotta practice, right? And failing is a part of that process. And this also ties into my own life as well. I have a couple of stories that I was gonna tell in this video that are exact examples of me failing and having to handle that realization. So the first one is about a couple of years ago. I was a sophomore in college or junior, I don't really remember. I was either a sophomore or junior, and I had gotten the call that I was going to be interviewing at Xbox, and this was for a software development engineer in test, which it's hard to describe the actual role. If you just look up SDET engineering, you'll be able to find it pretty easily. But so essentially, I went to Microsoft. I was interviewing at Xbox, and so the first couple questions weren't too bad, right? They were pretty much behavioral questions. What would you do in this situation? How would you handle this if this happened? The pretty basic questions, right? But the catch with the question with engineering interviews is that they ask you questions directly related to the field that you're studying. So in the case that you're studying computer science, they'll ask you questions about how to code or how you would test a certain thing in code, or how you would build a certain system and what architecture you would use. And so anyway, I got a coding question, and I can't say exactly what the question was, but I struggled quite a bit on it. I was trying to ask questions, trying to clarify, and I don't know, my mind just went blank, and I was having a really tough time. I ended up getting a solution, but only with the help of the interviewer. After a really long time, we were short on time, so the interviewer was able to kind of help guide me through a little bit. And at the end of the interview, actually, I was asked another question, which is directly related to white box and black box testing, which is something that is pretty prevalent in computer science and software design. Basically, how I would test a certain system is what this person asked me, and so I thought I was doing well. I thought I did a lot better on this section than the coding question. But anyway, I answer those questions. I get to the end, and the interview says to me, we're not going to invite you back for interviews, another round of interviews. You're just not. You don't have the technical ability. And, that. I don't think it gets much worse than that, to be honest with you. I mean, in terms of interviewing and the experience, it definitely does not get any worse than that. Having the interviewer directly tell you you're not, you don't have the technical ability hurts pretty damn bad. So the second interview, or the second story I want to tell you guys about, where I failed miserably, was I was interviewing at Microsoft again for a software engineer intern position. I had three interviews this day. That's pretty common with computer science, software engineering interviews, where you'll interview with multiple people throughout the day, each an hour long. So I had three interviews. The first one went pretty well. I was able to answer the question. I was able to optimize my solution, and I thought it went pretty well. The second one also went okay, I guess. I came up with a pseudo solution. I wasn't able to actually write the code, but came up with a pseudo solution that solved the problem for the most part. Ran into some issues with my design in the end, but I mean, that's part of the process. Third interview, oh man, that one was rough. I mean, I got asked a pretty easy question that I'd be able to answer like that if I were asked that today, but I struggled pretty hard, and I was able to get a solution, but it was one of those situations where I was kind of being guided through, right? The interviewer was very helpful in that situation, and I was able to get a solution, partly because of the interviewer. So I finished up interviews, and I thought it went okay, but I kind of knew in my mind, I said, I don't think I did good enough to be able to get this position, just because the standards for Microsoft are extremely high, and you're basically competing with hundreds of other applicants, which is pretty difficult. Might be less than that when you get to the in-person interviews. Usually a lot of them get weeded out in the earlier stages of interviews, but anyway, so then about a week goes by, and I get the call from my recruiter it wasn't even a call, it was an email from my recruiter saying that I wasn't selected for the position, and I was kind of actually banking on that, right? Like I had interned there the 2 summers before, and I was kind of banking on getting this position to kind of set up my career for after college, right? Because the percentage of people who intern there and then also end up working full time there is pretty high. So, I got the email that I didn't get the position, and it hurt me. It hurt pretty bad, and I felt absolutely demolished, especially since I spent so much time studying, and I worked really hard for trying to get that position, and it apparently just wasn't my day, right? It was rough. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like anything that I did would have no impact on whether or not I would have gotten that position, that there's not really much I can do to actually make it so I get a position like that in the future. And it was just rough on me. It was very heavy on my mind, and took a toll on me. But that brings me to the whole point of this video, is that these things are okay. These situations are what's going to help you grow in the end, and having that experience is only going to make it better for you later on. As hard as it is right now, I mean, I can't tell you how hard it was for me to be able to swallow that pill. Me getting rejected twice in the same year from 2 different departments of the same company, despite me working my ass off. It was it was pretty hard to deal with. But if any of you guys have gone through the same thing, just know that, you know, it gets better, and those experiences are what's going to help you in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments on what I talked about today, just go ahead and leave a comment down below. And have a great day, guys.